and the Attorney General will be allowed to answer the question.
Isn't it true, Mr. Attorney General, that you've not produced a log of materials withheld, even though our investigators have asked for it?
I know that, I'm not sure about that. I know that the...
Okay, I'm sure you didn't, so let's move on. March 15th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. April 19th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. May 7th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. May 17th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. June 2nd, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. July 2nd, the real date of our independence, 2010, obviously earlier, before Brian Terry was gunned down. These wiretap applications, which we did not subpoena, but which were given to us by a furious group of whistleblowers that are tired of your stonewalling, indicate that a number of key individuals in your administration, in fact, were responsible for information contained in here that clearly shows that the tactics of Fast and Furious were known. They were known and are contained in these wiretaps. I understand you've read these wiretaps since we brought them to your attention. Is that correct?
I have read them, and I disagree with the conclusion you've just reached.
So let me go through a very simple line of questioning, if I may, Mr. Attorney General. James Cole, Deputy Attorney General, has written that the Department has a greater obligation than just checking the legal sufficiency and approving wiretap application. He thinks that applications also have to comply with DOJ policy. Is that correct?
Applications have to agree with DOJ policy?
That's what he said.
Sure.
Okay. During a transcribed interview, Deputy Assistant Attorney General Jason Weinstein testified that senior officials approving the wiretap applications do not read the wiretap applications. Is this practice acceptable to you?
They read summaries of the applications. That is a process that has been used by this administration and by all previous administrations. It is the way in which the Office of Enforcement...
And are you aware that federal judges, to your knowledge...
Can I answer my question? The question you've asked?
No, you've given me a sufficient answer considering the amount of questions I have and the amount of time I have. You're okay with that practice? You've already answered that. So, would you agree that senior officials are responsible for documents they sign? I would assume the answer is yes. So now let me ask you the question. Jason Weinstein, is he responsible for what is in these wiretaps?
Is he responsible?
He's a responsible officer under statute. Is he responsible for them even if he only read a summary?
He did not create those affidavits. He did not create that material. He would have been a person, as a Deputy Assistant Attorney General, who would have reviewed the material.
So when Congress writes a statute that requiring certain individuals be responsible, such as Jason Weinstein, Lanny Brewer, and yourself...
Regular order, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Regular order, Mr. Chairman.
I'm in the middle of a question.
The Attorney General will be allowed to answer this question.
And ask the question.
I'm halfway through it if you'll quit interrupting. If, in fact, the statute says they're responsible, and if, in fact, they're not read, then, in fact, how are the American people to understand who is responsible for what is contained in these
Attorney
documents
General will be allowed to
being,
answer this
in
question.
fact, because anyone of ordinary reading, including the ATF director, former director Melson, anyone reading these, according to him, would be sick to their stomach because they would be immediately aware of
Does he have a question, Mr. Chairman?
So, who is responsible, Mr. Attorney General?
All right. You really conflated a bunch of things here. The responsibility...
You've delivered so little.
Regular order now, Mr. Chairman. Will he be allowed to answer the question now?
The Attorney General will be allowed to answer the question, but I'd appreciate no more interruptions so the AG can answer the question.
The responsibility about which you speak is, in fact, the responsibility of a Deputy Assistant Attorney General looking at those summaries to make sure that there is a basis to go into court and to ask that court to grant the wiretap based on a determination that a responsible official makes that probable cause exists to believe that a wire facility has been used in the commission of a crime. They do not look at the affidavits to see if, in fact, to review all that is engaged, all that is involved in the operation. I have read those now. I have read those. I've read those. I've read them from wide receiver as well. And I can say that what has happened in connection with Fast and Furious was done in the same way as wiretap applications